Hey, are you at a point in your life where you've accumulated a lot of assets? You have a lot of different accounts, and basically you just have a lot of stuff going on to the point that it kind of makes you nervous or maybe even tense when you think about someone else, like how someone else would be able to handle all that stuff if you were gone, or maybe they wouldn't be able to handle it at all. With many of the clients that we work with at Stonehouse, there's usually one person in the household who knows where everything is, knows how to find everything, knows what the passwords are, and really kind of has their finger on the pulse of the household. And then there's the other spouse or surviving family member who kind of has no clue where all those things are. They're focused on something else. But they nervously admit that they'd be lost like a deer in the headlights if that first person I mentioned were to pass away. Well, let me tell you, giving someone the keys to your kingdom, or at least a roadmap on where to find those keys if you're gone, can kind of be very daunting. And I know that many of you get intimidated just thinking about the work involved or the volume of information that you need to grant somebody access to if you were to pass away. So when it comes to your household, whether you're the one holding the keys or you're the one who's going to be looking all over for those keys someday, I may have just what you need in this video. I hope I do. And if you like what you hear and what you see, I'll make you an offer at the end of this video that would be difficult to refuse. So inside of our Stonehouse offices, we've helped many families prepare for these types of moments ahead of time, and even helped just as many pick up the pieces after losing a loved one who did not prepare for all this. In fact, we created a booklet called LifeSTACK as sort of a checklist, if you will, to kind of help you along the way, whether you're doing it ahead of time or after the fact. Think of it as a life hack, right? In our offices, we refer to LifeSTACK as a process. In fact, we believe in that process so much that almost everything we help our clients with year in and year out is based around this process. So many people think that all we do is manage money, right? But managing money is a big piece of it, but money managers focus on only managing money. Financial planning, which is really what we spend a lot of time on with our clients, involves so much more. When our clients sit down with us to review, whatever they're reviewing, we prioritize the things that are important to them in the order they want. But we also point out there are things to think about in the future. And this LifeSTACK process really helps us to not only explain it to our clients, but gives them an awareness and an education on things that they may not even have considered up to that point. So I guess the question is, what can you do if you're not already a client of Stonehouse and don't have access to this LifeSTACK process, but you still want to get some of the important pieces of your life organized, maybe for your own satisfaction, but certainly for the help of all your beloved ones around you who are going to need it when you're gone. I first need to tell you, though, that this LifeSTACK booklet is created out of many, many years of experience with, let me just say it's a really personal item to me. It holds a really special place in my heart. And I'll tell you a story. But first, it starts with the fact that we at our Stonehouse office have helped many, many people put the pieces of their life together. Sometimes we're putting it together and we're planning ahead. And sometimes we're picking up some pieces that a loved one left them behind. And so this particular booklet, if you will, was a personal mission of mine for quite a number of years. And I'm super proud of this latest iteration of the LifeSTACK booklet. I was really happy when it was completed. And I can still remember handing this thing out we had kits and we handed them out to a bunch of our clients at a dinner event one time. And it was just a really cool moment. I was really glad to see a lot of people happy to get this and excited about taking it home and getting it started. Two of those people were my parents. They both knew very well that I was working on this for a long time. And my mom took this thing right home and got to work on it. I can still remember my dad stopping by my house, now and then, and he'd be complaining that, your mom's driving me crazy. She's asking me all these questions, and, but she was trying to get that LifeSTACK book completed. And she finally did it. And they were both excited. Well, Mom was excited that she had it completed, and Dad was pretty much just excited that it was done. So, unfortunately, just a few weeks later, we lost my dad. Anybody who's lost a family member, especially somebody you're really close to, well, I just don't really have the time to share all my thoughts that went through my head during that time. But if you've gone down that road, that path, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So somewhere out there, I think there's a video in our archives with me talking about a much longer conversation about this topic. But among the many different moments I had with family members during all that time in my life, whenever I look at this booklet, I'm kind of reminded of a drive home one night from the ICU with my mom and my brother. We were in the car together, and like any stressful family discussion during a time like that, we started talking about where certain important documents were, like Dad's living will, for example. And I can remember rattling off a couple of other things that were in my head as my brother and I tried to figure out, what we'd do next. And my mother spoke up and just said, "I'm not worried about any of that. I have everything I need in that LifeSTACK booklet. I know exactly where everything is." So the funny thing about this job sometimes is you work so hard to help others through good and the bad times in their life that you often kind of lose sight that all those things are probably going to happen to you as well. And that's a great example of what happened to myself and my family. And but it's certainly not exactly what I expected and the timing I expected. It usually never is. But for me, there's no better validation of the endless hours of effort than how this booklet helped my family. Not only were we able to get the documents we needed right away, but after he had passed, my mom and we blocked off a day on the calendar to go through everything. And within just a few hours, we'd gone through all their accounts, their credit cards, all the Social Security and other items that they needed to be taken care of. And we were done. Not everything was completed all in that 3 or 4 hours, but it was all started on that day. And the rest of the follow-ups were easy because we knew where everything was and we knew where it needed to go. So this booklet, it's not a perfect document. There may be an outlier in your life that might not be, I should say, included in these checklists, but it sure is pretty comprehensive for what most people need. Let's talk about the pages. There's a page about your personal information for all you and your family members to make sure everyone is listed and their contact information is always up to date. There's a page that allows you to list your financial assets as well. Of course there is. Not just what they are, though, but who owns them and other important details. Now, some of you might own real estate, and not just your home, but I mean maybe some investment properties or other items that are not your typical financial accounts. The more details you can include about those, the easier it is for your family to know what to do. Some of you may still have debt, which is commonly overlooked or forgotten about when doing this type of planning. But I don't know any lenders that just forgive your debts when you're no longer there. So somebody's going to have to pay that back. So your family needs to know all about it. It's also really important that your family knows about any insurance policies you have. Yeah, sure, life insurance is obviously an important one, but also the contact and account information on all your other policies on your house, your car, etc. And don't forget about Social Security. If you haven't started collecting yet, your surviving spouse certainly may be able to do that. If you were collecting already, again, your spouse may have some options to think about. People often don't think about taxes initially, but when they're thinking during, passing away or anything, but income taxes are important. But estate taxes and inheritance taxes and a list of other types of taxes can also come into play for certain types of assets. As these things are transferring from one person to another or to several people, and that's when the taxes come in. So someone may need to fill out an estate tax return at some point. So knowing who has done your tax returns in years past might be easier for the family to work with. As I mentioned in the case of my father, legal documents can be very important and very timely. Wills, living wills, powers of attorney, all those things should be listed here. We also go as far as to suggest a home inventory. jewelry, art, antiques, firearms, whatever you have. If it's important to you, write it down. We have a couple of pages here about employers to make sure that you don't leave an old retirement plan or pension somewhere where somebody can't find it. And also an identity protection page, which we spend a good amount of time encouraging our clients to pay attention to. I also highly recommend you list any advisors that you have in your life, whether they be attorneys, financial planners, accountants, business partners, etc. They will all likely need to be involved and contacted during any change or transition. There's even a page for utilities. This one's especially important for your spouse. If you're the one paying all the bills every month, then he or she better know where those go and in what amounts. The last thing that they need at that moment in their life is to see the lights go out or the internet get shut down or disconnected. So the final section is appropriately called Final Wishes. This was the toughest part for my parents to go through. To be honest with you, it's the only part that they didn't really truly finish. And my best guess is that it wasn't finished because nobody expected it to happen so quickly. But this page did force them to have some very good open conversation with each other. And I know my mom felt really confident with what we as a family ultimately decided. Wow. I mean, I know that was a lot to go through in a quick time, and I probably also came across sort of sad or dark during that last section or two, but I want to make myself very, very clear to you. There are a lot of bright times and unfortunately some sad times in all of our lives. There's nothing that I can do or say to change that fact. But what I want you to understand to clearly get this message is that this LifeSTACK process, this booklet, helped my family. It helped make it easier for my mom, and it can do the same thing for you and your family. So I guess I just want to ask you to ask yourself, what's worse, spending day after day beating yourself up, thinking that you should eventually get your ducks in a row and organize your life, or just doing a little bit of legwork right now and using this booklet or any other process that you have access to and spend the rest of your days with more confidence. Spend those days enjoying the fact that you're much more prepared than you've ever been before. Hey, obviously, I'm super passionate about seeing you take action and helping you make a difference in your life. That's really what it's all about, helping you make a difference. So remember, I told you I was going to make you an offer that would be hopefully difficult for you to refuse. So here's what I'm going to do. I will offer the first 25 people who click the link, reach out to us directly, and request it. I'll give you a free LifeSTACK booklet. That's plain and simple, as easy as I can make it. Simply click the link in the description of the video. Tell us where to send this. We'll be happy to do it. As a matter of fact, scratch 25. Let's make it 50 people. I really, really want to help people make a difference in their lives. And I get asked this question a lot, like, when's a good time to start doing financial planning? And the answer is always today. The information that you put in this LifeSTACK booklet, it's core to any good financial plans that are out there. So do this for yourself, do it for your family, and you won't regret it. I hope this video finds you well. I hope you take the action today to organize your life and go enjoy some time with the folks that you love.